All right, so now that we've got our our program open, we're going to start with something that's actually not adding more code. We're going to add something else before we add more code, and that is a finish screen, right? Or a screen where everything finishes, right? So if you remember from before, if we go to stages in the bottom right corner, that's going to give us the ability to look at all of our code and stages backdrops that we've got. So I'm going to click on stage, and that brings up the code that we talked about last time, which is when flag clicked, switch to backdrop 1, and then I'm going to click in the upper left corner on the backdrops, so we can look at our backdrops. Right now we've got backdrop 1, which is our game screen. And we've got that XY grid that we put in last time so we can keep track of everything. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add another backdrop that's going to be called backdrop 2 when we start, and then we can rename it if we want, but I'm not going to. So in the bottom right corner, we've got our backdrop button, right? We can go to paint or design a new one. Also in the bottom right, we can choose a backdrop, and again, we can paint in if that's our choice. Obviously, we could choose one, but I'm just going to design one for right now. So I'm going to click on that paint tool, and then again, you can see that gives us backdrop 2, and then I've got a blank slate, so to speak, here to paint it. You see the little plus sign in the middle, right? That little reticule in the middle is the center. So that's important to know and be aware of. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to go to a little rectangle. I'm going to draw a little rectangle. So I'm going to get that rectangle tool, and I'm just going to click and drag a rectangle. You can see right now it's filled red with a black outline. I'm going to make that outline a little thicker. But that's basically my screen right now, and I'm pretty happy with it, okay? So you can see it's a red box in the screen. It's not really the whole screen, but one thing that I want to do is make sure that I line up the middle of my box with the middle of the screen so that it's centered nicely. That's good. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to add some text. So I'm going to click here, and the text I'm going to add is tag your fit. Now you can't see my text because it's the same color as the backdrop. So I'm going to change that to a different color, right? And you can see now that I've messed up my text, and I'm going to make it bigger so that it fits a little bit better in my box. And I'm going to try and fix it. I can't. There we go. Double click in there, and then I can make sure that it's typed right, which is kind of important. And then I'm again going to drag that plus sign so it's centered on my screen, so that everything is centered nicely. One more thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag a box around everything that I've made, so my text and my box, and then I'm going to click on the group button. It's going to put everything together. It's not going to be super important because this isn't a sprite. It's just my screen, but it's still worth doing. So I group those things so that they're one item. So in a tag game, when you get tagged, then right, tag your it's going to come up. That's the basic concept. So we're going to make this game work, and then when somebody gets tagged, we're going to go to this screen. That's the basic concept. So now that we've made this screen, the next step is going to be making our code that's going to work this. So we'll go to that next.